What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to be talking none other than just predictions. I mean, again, this is a 1 in a million, right? That is going to be posted in the next 3 weeks. Predictions and ban list predictions are always one of those things that long-term wise, what do you do, right? So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So, as you know, that the restriction list is coming regardless of how you want to handle it, how you want to speak. There is going to be some hits and some changes and shakeup. First off, we need to take a look at what information they said. Basically, from February to January, May to July, they are using all the data compiled. So first off, we have basically May 11th to June 1st finalists from 2025 Season 1 Simplified Chinese. This is basically 14 Digimon players, 9 Royal Knights, Gallantmon at 4, Sakuya at 4. So yeah, if you take a look down, we have, just Simplified Chinese, we have, 12.1% was taken up by Migra, Sakuyamon 11.3%, Royal Knights 10.4%, Red Purple Imperialmon 5.6%, Gallantmon at 5.2%, Heroes, Adventures, Crossout, Vmon Armors, Red Hybrid, Blue Green Imperialmon, Galactic, all in good faith of there. But let's take in Japan, 5 Magidramon players, 2 Royal Knight players, 2 Red Purple Imperialmon, Sakuyamon 2, V Armor 1, Galactic 1, and stuff like that. But if we take a look here, they have Sakuyamon, Royal Knights, Red Purple Imperialmon, Magidramon, Gallantmon, Adventures, Blue Green Imperialmon, Vmon Armors, Galactic, Lightfang Nightclaw appearing in for a quick second, but doesn't really do much. Now let's take a look at the US. We have Magidramon player Sakuya, Royal Knights, Blue Green Imperialmon, Purple Hybrid. You got Heroes, Leviah, Red Purple Imperialmon. You got Gallantmon again popping up. So, even just taking a look here, Royal Knights 9.6, 9.2, Magidra 7.4, Vdramon Armor 6.7, Gallantmon 6.1, Red Purple Blue Green Imperialmon, Galacticmon. If you really take in 2 major decks that have super protection, OTK King, and then Mega Zoo, but just really powerful. With cheap ways of interaction, right? So how would we go about just in general, if we're going to knock down the big 3? Let's start with Magidramon, because again, people want to see this hit. So first off, you kill Rush Gila. That basically seals the deck in its grave. You kind of get rid of that rush progression that this deck is known to doing, and this will hurt a little bit of the birds and stuff like that. Not too crazy. It just guarantees they're not going to be able to slam Rush Geo down if you put this thing to 0. That's the only way you perfectly stop the shenanigans. And I'm being straight honest with you. If you don't do that, the deck is going to run rampant still. Rush Gila going to 1 is not going to change anything in the format, really, because again, Bird version is going to be playing it plays it at 2. Bringing it down to 1 is just a slap on the wrist for that deck. It does not care. They play Gravity Crush at 1, so hitting Gravity Crush at 1 is not going to care about it either. So that's 2 important things. But you also have to take into account that there is a Gallant variant that plays the Grav Crush and the Rush Gila. There is the Magidra itself. So, but again, the deck would just be fine. You find this as long as it's not in your security, you're OTKing them, because again, Growl X antibody, once you're at 20 security, this thing's going to keep cycling itself back, playing the body, get the body, go, 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 go. And it'll just keep doing that forever. So the Growl X is one of 2 things here. This is if you want to hit Gallant 2. If you want to knock Magidra and Gallant out, you knock Growl X antibody down to 1 as well. So if you hit all 3 of these, this is basically a Gallant hit plus a Magidra hit. This would If Bandai really wants to get Gallant off the board, you hit Growl X. This is just so that, you know, they can't loop it as much, and it's a slight slap on the wrist to Gallant, as now they basically can't guarantee, you know, oh, you outed my Gallant stack. Well, at least I can go, I get this Guillemon that'll hopefully search me pieces or draw me pieces. You know, it's a small little preventative thing. It's not on the high priority list. I would say most radar should be kill the Gila, hit grab crush to 1. That's just really what you want to do with that. I mean, Growl X if you want to hit both Migra and, but again, this needs to go to 0 copies. Like, this needs to be banned if you're going to stop the Migra shenanigans. If you don't, the loop is just going to be live. They're just going to play search like if you were just giving it purple Matt Ishida. You just don't want to do that. Now, if you want to hit the Royal Knights of the Purge, well, Royal Knights in general, there are probably 4 contenders to work with. First off, Royal Knight of the Purge. This card is, yes, you hit this consistency, you slow it down a little bit. This is, you know, you're not speeding up as fast as tempo, and that's kind of good. I mean, being able to draw a card and then place one of your Royal Knights at the bottom is something, but the fact of the matter is, no one was really ready for Royal Knights of the Purge to kind of do this one thing, and that is Omnimon X Antibody. It wasn't designed for Omnimon X Antibody in mind. This card is very much not ready for this thing to exist. These two become really nasty to deal with because, again, you get to play it out for free, and then basically you get to swing in, remove a threat, both players Digimon, choose one of both players Digimon, delete all others, then return one of your opponent's Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So that's just great board clear. As long as it has Omni or X Anybody's Digi-Evolution cards, you get to delete all other Digimon. If not, you're just returning something to the bottom of your opponent's deck, which, again, a lot of decks in this format don't really do much into that. I mean, if they don't have protection from bottom deck, you're just in a weird spot. But it also, one of your Digimon may rush into for the turn and attack without suspending. That getting in is just big. Last Guardian itself is reveal top 3 cards of deck, add 1 Cool Boy and Royal Knight X Magnum to your hand, return the rest to the bottom deck, then place this in the battle area, and then basically make sure that one of your Digimon doesn't leave. Being able to have Last Guardian plus Omnimon X Antibody out makes it a little more problem. So again, if you want to really make the deck a lot less consistent and fast, you hit Royal Knights of the Purge. Hit Last Guardian if you want to keep Royal Knight of the Purge, but this just to make sure that Omni X kind of just guarantees going underneath something at the end, and then you kind of can't just spam out Omni X again it preceding. That's just something to think about. Omekamon is another option. I know he just came out, but being able to, you know, protect yourself with an Omni X coming out is a real big challenge in some decks, and a lot of players can't play around this thing. This thing being, you know, Omni X in itself means you need to have at least 3. You need to have 1 protection just to stop this thing. Second, you need to be able to swing through the block. It becomes a lot of more of a challenge, especially with Omekamon existing, right? So just something to think about. Royal Knights of the Purge, Last Guardians, you know, all these things are very scary things, but at the end of the day, the big contender is probably, if you want to get the deck out of the meta, you hit Royal Knights of the Purge. If you want to hit Omni X, the only reason why you would hit Omni X is because Royal Knights, but also one other factor. And that is that if you take in the account that with how many other, you know, strong level 7s there are, Omnimon X is in its league of its own. You're not really going to be playing, if you're playing blue or red, this is a forever level 7 in your deck. Outside of, you know, Omni, this thing's always going to be able to clear house and just win games. If you want players off this level 7, you're going to have to hit it to 1. And even still, that won't get them off it, but it just slows down Royal Knights, to be honest with you. I mean, you can, but again, this isn't like our big boy. And what do I mean by our big boy? This is an Apocalypse level card, right? This card is strong, yes, but this thing isn't really why you're going to be trying to hit it. This is just if Bandai's just decides to be cheeky. Now, here's some hits that might help out. Digievolution plugin S is a great option, but you need to shut this thing. Probably could disappear and nobody's going to bat an eye. They'll still just do their shenanigans. So this would be like Imperial Dramon hit Stingmon. Like, why? Does it really matter? No, just an option. This Talmon would definitely slow the deck down, give it less ways of climbing into its other evolutions, just making sure it's kind of fair and even, right? This slows down the when attacking, basically forces them to play the ace again, and if their ace loses their stack loses the battle, in comparison, they're losing the memory, you're getting the turn back. Hitting the Rika is another option because being able to stop their memory gain is a choice. I hear some people say hit the Rika as well. It's a possibility. It's not always the answer here. Sukuyamon X is just basically because Sukuyamon X is not future proofed. This thing is, you know, when one of your Digimon attacks, you may use one single color option with a cost 5 or less from your hand without paying its cost. If you use this effect, one of your Digimon may unsuspend. So being able to get into Volderarm is a problem because it is a floodgate aspect that is very annoying. Yes, it produces a rush token on top of it, so you get at least a minimum 3 attacks in, regardless of situation, and that is a big problem for a lot of decks. Now, here comes like the very strange category. So these are hits that players are asking for. Scrambles is just in here because, again, Sukuya abuses Yellow Scramble, and yes, it's a very generic powerful card, and we don't really hit very generic sometimes, but if you restrict the Scrambles down to 1 across the board, it means Yellow Scramble is no longer a viable option for Sukuya, but I hope you hit Talmon as well, just so that basically the deck kind of loses that free evolve, you know, because then if you get rid of the Scramble, it doesn't get that shot at being, hey, I get to go into Volderarm. Oh, cute. How? Now you don't have to worry. So now they don't get to reduce its evolution cost by 3 and gain that 2 memory and set themselves back at 0. So yeah, something to think about. I mean, yeah, the Scrambles is a little bit of a hit that would annoy players, but bringing it down to 1 is not a bad thing. A lot of decks play it at 2 max. So, and the only deck that abuses it right now is Sukuya. If you hit Volgarmon plus Dustmon, either one of these hits, it's just to bring Purple Hybrid from milling you out. This deck can just do mill out Central, and that is another option, especially once you get into multicolor decks and stuff like that. Changing up another color, you're milling out 3, and then you're just going to always get this hybrid shenanigans, and it gets to be a problem for a lot of players to deal with because it becomes almost uninteractable in a way if you can't just stop the Tamer swinging. Wormmon is just so that you can knock red, purple, and Imperial Dramon down, and we know why people don't like this deck because, again, one Wormmon promoted up can lead into a full red, purple, Imperial Dramon, and then you're dealing with a lot of threats. So it's understandable. Davis and Ken is just so that if you hit all these other top tier deck, that means blue, green, Imperial Dramon still get to walk. Yes, hitting Davis and Ken, a lot of players ask for this, and this is something that, yes, being able to play free searchers is a problem. I know that we have this with Nokia now, and it's like, do we hit that as well? And it gets really very much a vague red area. So I don't know. Yes, kind of you should, because the Wormmon Vmon constantly searching and gaining tempo is always ridiculous, and it kind of gets you to the pieces. But again, it's like, if you hit all these decks, you need to hit these tier 2s, but Bandai's are very bad about that. You know, Sionco can get the heck out of here. Let's be honest with you. Hitting this does not care for Galaxy. Yes, you lose out on being able to do Grace Nova on your opponent's turn, but at the end of the day, we're not looking for that. We're looking for possibilities, right? We're looking for Sionko is a great card, don't get me wrong. The fact that it is brought into almost every loop deck nowadays, and it always seems to break itself, I'm tired of it. You can ban Sionko, we have new Sio, it does not matter. I know Ko and Sio has been on the big hit list for a lot of players, and it is one of those cards that becomes a small problem, and it holds a small problem, is because once you get a second Digimon out, you can just do these crazy shenanigan stacks that basically gain you value that you weren't really supposed to get into. You know, being able to get into any level 6 or level 7 by just using the other stuff is a problem for a lot of players because they hate the free evolve. But again, you're still having to use resources. You're supposed to do stuff. You know, I get it. Sionko going to 1 is not that bad of a thing. It's when it starts getting, 3 to 4 Sionko, you can just combo and just go wambo, and, your opponent's just going to have trouble dealing with it. Now, here comes some maybe stuff. Tropical Venoms and Paramal Junk are another card like Grav Crush that should just probably go to 1 at this point. Someone's going to come along the lines, break the card, and it's no fun for anybody. Now, Levia going down to 1 is just to hit the dog deck. It's just Levia being in the format far too long with Biting Crush. It just makes a lot of unfair interactions. Yes, the card is good. I can't always complain that it exists. But again, every time the meta shifts from being like, oh, these heavy protection decks no longer apply, Levia starts creeping in. It's just similar to what you had to deal with Mirage, is that every time once the meta got solved and, there are just chances that Levia can sneak in. So just something to think about there. Lucimon Chaos Mode is another card that can be a problem, especially in 7th grade Demon Lords. Do I think it's going to get hit? There has been some whispers and requests of this card just because it creates these weird deadlocks that just makes it a real problem. Your opponent may delete one of their Digimon or Tamers, effect and delete, trash the top card of their security stack, and recovery 1. So this card can always just keep coming back with like 7th grade Demon Lords, or in the future with, just Lucimon. So when this card comes out, it creates small little issues, but I mean, it's probably on the lowest radar and probably won't be touched. This is just to be in here because someone says something. Magna X is always on a lot of players' mind. They think this card should go. And a lot of people do agree. This thing has so easy ways of proccing that it's not even funny. And it leads into just being this protection that you can't deal with. And that is a problem for a lot of players because it comes one turn of uninteractable shenanigans, and then basically you can get OTK'd from there. Magnum, black, blue is another card that a lot of players want to see gone because, again, this thing coming out of security is always a problem, being able to de-digivolve one Digimon. And at the end of the battle, one of your Digimon may digivolve into this card, and it's got just trash the top Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon for each of that Digimon's colors, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolutions to their hand. Just again, easy answer with Magna, and it's just a problem. Again, this would just slow down Magna X again from becoming back into the format, because if this thing comes back in the format, people are going to complain, and we know that. One other deck that I think people are complaining about is what is it? Not Heroes, not Galactic. We talked about Migra. I don't think. I'm trying to remember what other deck people have been kinda gun-hoing against. We talked about this one, that one, this one, this one. Zophagus, fine. 7th grade Demon Lords, Adventures, no, we don't care. Nope. Royal Knights. Dominimon's another possibility because players hate that deck, but I don't think that's just another answer we should just do because players hate the deck. But I think we kind of covered majority of the topic. If I remember, I'll add it in post, but at the end of the day, we have a lot of good hits coming this way. I think this has a lot of the maybe pool contesters, but these are like the big boys at the end of the day that we're just going to be seeing long-term wise. Again, hitting these would help matchups and stuff like that. But guys, what do you think? What is your opinion on the restriction list? Let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.